Welcome everyone. So today, what is our plan? We will continue with our macro lecture series for GS economy. What is our idea? First, we are building foundation. Let's say you have to write a good quality answer in GS3 economics. Before that, you have to qualify prelims. Yeah, there are 15-20 odd questions. For that, you must have a foundation, good foundation in economics. So first, what is our plan? First, we will in 7-8 lectures we will cover macroeconomics. Then maybe 2-3 lectures micro. Two lectures are sufficient. 2-3 lectures. Then we will study documents like economic survey, right? Important government reports. Let's say to write a good GS3 answer for the agriculture part, you have to read national farmer policy. Okay. Niti Aayog reports. So all those reports we will study here, right? I'm calling it reports. Then we will focus, parallelly we will focus on PYQs, both prelims and mains. Okay, so this is you understand this thread. So we are following this. Today what we will do? We will discuss 2-3 questions from 2023 prelims, and we will see how the theory which we are discussing, how it is related. Let's say you are practicing economics question. You study things like open market operations, OMO, and you see the newspaper. Okay, you understand. That is just information. That is not concept building. See, there is a question OMO, or open market operation. What do you understand by open market operation? These are the questions prelims. And now you do Google and you understand. But that is just adding more information in you. That is not concept building. How the concept building happens when you know the foundation. And we also understand that for a UPSC, you cannot go into very detailed economics. But at least 6-7 lectures you must devote to macro and micro part. That is fine. Let's see. Okay, in the last class so far what we have done? We have covered mercantilism, classical, okay, and Keynes we have not got. And classical, what we saw the assumptions, right? And we saw we studied things like MPN. Then we studied what is labor supply curve, labor demand curve. Then by the aggregate output is constant in your classical school case. So all those things are okay. So today we will continue with the quantity theory of money. This is an important concept. You see, from this concept, you will find always 1 or 2 questions in UPSC prelims. And then we will see the effect of government spending and taxation on your output. Okay. So let us start with prelims question. What is this question? Okay. Now see this question. Let us start with, this is SAT A 2023. Now see this question. This question is very simple. Consider the following statement. In the post-pandemic recent past, many central banks worldwide have carried out interest rate hike. Okay, interest rate hike is there. Okay, now this is an observation. Let's say you are an aspirant. You have to observe what is happening and how this observation will come. It can come two ways. Maybe daily you are investing time in newspaper, but never invest 2-3-4 hours in newspaper, 2-3 hours, right? That I don't think is. See, that same knowledge you can get if you read economic survey. Economic survey gives you a big picture. So daily investing to 3 hours in newspaper is inefficiency. Rather build concept through economic survey and then keep on looking at the important news. Second, central bank generally assume that they have the ability to counteract the rising consumer prices by a monetary policy means. Monetary policy, you understand, right? There are 2 things. One is fiscal policy, one is monetary policy. By increasing rates, right, controlling inflation, these are the part of monetary. Like let's say this year there was a question on sterilization. That itself is a part of monetary policy means. Okay. So now this question is very simple. Both are correct. There was an inflation, right, worldwide. In fact, the famous management guru, Professor Ramcharan, he's a very, I will say, most capable, among the most capable management gurus living at present. He said that inflation is going to be the problem of this next 2-3 years, and it is happening. Although it had a soft landing recently, but still there was inflation, so they increase interest rate. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Now, central bank generally assume they have the ability to counteract the yes. That's fine. Now, see, now, okay, just telling you the statement that okay, both are correct and uh, uh, both statement were correct and both, and is the correct explanation of a statement one. Okay, this is, but this does not complete the picture. It is just information. Now, whatever we did in yesterday's lecture, now you can see how interest rates are connected, right? What happens? Let's say if you increase interest rate, what will happen to your investment? It will come down, right? Now you can connect. Now you say you increase interest rate, the inflation will come down. Okay. Now this concept building is more important. Now see this. Central bank have the assume that they have the ability. Why the they have used the word assume? Because classical economists did not give much weightage to monetary policy. They say real factors are more important than classical factor. Sorry, monetary factors. Fine. So if you will relate this question with the previous lecture, I'm sure your understanding will be better. Now let's see this question. Question number 23. Carbon markets are likely to be one of the most widespread tool in the fight against climate change. Okay. Carbon markets transfer resources from the private sector to the state. Now, see what is carbon market. Carbon market, I do not want to go into the long story from Kyoto and all those things. But the concept is this. Let's say this idea is we have to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions. Right? Otherwise, there will global warming and it will threaten the planet. And this threat is more, is more than, let's say, a threat of terrorism. So, how you can reduce greenhouse gases? By, by reducing the emission of CO2 is another. So, what is the kind of a dispute between developed and developed countries? Developed countries says everyone should reduce the carbon emission. Developing countries says, see, we have to look at the cumulative emission. Developing countries are saying to developed countries that you have already emitted so much and you have got that growth, development. But our people are living in poverty. We have to move up. So how that can happen? Only through production. And for production, there will be greenhouse gas emission. So, so this is the main idea. And what is India's stance? India's stance is collective responsibility, right? India says that they are talked about the collective responsibility. Not only, India also says that they are almost, 33% living below poverty line. So they have to move up. And how it can happen? Only through production. Now, this is the main idea. And what happens in carbon market? Let's say some countries, have reduced that emission. So they will make a package for that. Package means some financial instrument. And they can trade that. That is the core idea. So now this statement is correct. Carbon markets are likely to be one of the most widespread tools in the fight against climate change. Yes, let's say country X reduced emission. So country X can, country Y can trade with those, instrument. See, I do not want to go into the details, but there is a trade of instrument, which is based on what that some emission of carbon has happened. Fine. Now, second, see, you will get better understanding of this statement once you have read Niti Aayog, let's say, report on climate change. Once you have read SDG, 17 goals, right? There are 17 goals. Once you have read this UNDP document, then your understanding will be better. Not only this, there is one more report by Government of India. I've forgotten the name of the report. National Action Policy on Climate Change, something like. But anyway, now the second question was difficult. What the second question says, carbon market transfer resources from the private sector to the state. Okay, now this statement is correct, and there is a story behind it. And simply, what is happening again? The concept is the same. Trading. Let's say one country is trading with another country, right? Country X is trading this carbon markets instruments. Carbon. Okay, we can call it ETF. So when this trading happens, so indirectly what is happening from private sector? The private sector of country X is transferring resources from to public sector of X, and similarly private sector of Y is transferring resources for Y. Now the full understanding of this this particular will come once you have read the reports, right? So I do not want to discuss all these things superficially, but once you have read that SDG reports, economic survey chapter on climate change, and a few reports here and there, you will understand what is here. Fine. Now coming to this question, sterilization. You must also observe what kind of question UPSC is asking. UPSC is generally testing your ability to understand economic terms. Okay, they are not asking what is classical theory. No. But your ability to understand economic terms. So what is sterilization? Sterilization is a part of open market operations, OMA. So it is, see, what you do in open market operation? You sell bonds. See, government can raise funds through, if there is a government deficit, it can raise through three means. What is? By taxation, printing money, quantitative easing, or what else? Yesterday, yes. Taxation can be there, quantitative easing, or selling bonds. Selling bonds. The selling bonds is the part of your open market operation. You sell bonds, you take money, right? Let's say you're RBI is releasing bonds on behalf of Government of India. So this way government will collect money, and that they will help in to finance their deficit or government spending on those. So sterilization is mainly related to whenever there is a foreign exchange intervention. Okay, there is let's say India's currency is depreciating against the dollar or yen, then RBI will take this operation sterilization. This much you must know. Okay, fine. Now consider this question. Which of the following is a part of a capital market? So I always suggest to aspirant, there is a chapter by NCERT on what you do. You go on Google and financial market. Okay, and here you will find this. In fact, I will see if I can show you. If I can show you here, let me see if I can show you here. Just a minute. It will take that. NCERT. I think, yes, let me see. Okay. Okay. Where it is? Download. Where it is? Question number. Can you see question number? The download. Huh? I don't know where the PYQ. Oh my God. I maybe but anyway, we will see that later. Just a minute. No problem. So what we'll do? See, okay, I will tell you later. You guys can. What it is? Financial market is there, right? Financial market is divided into two markets: money market, capital market, right? Money market. But you please read that NCRT, very, very important. And capital market. Money market is short duration, right? Capital market is long duration, right? So what they are asking, which of the are included in money capital market? Now tell me, call money market can be there? No, that is a part of money market. Then, okay, now the question is only 1, only 2, only 3. Now treasury bill market. Why? What do you mean by only 2?
Government bond market.
Oh, government bond market. Okay, that is fine. Government bond can be, it can be capital market. It can be long duration as well.
Yes,
fine, wonderful. Then.
And treasury bill market.
Okay, treasury bill can be, now treasury bills are generally, short duration, very, very short duration. 3 months, 6 months. Then you will categorize into capital market.
No, sir. Short is money market.
Sorry.
Stock market and bond market.
Stock market and the bond market. Okay, so only 2 should be the answer. Okay, so now, but again, please read that PDF. That will give you that chapter. That will give you holistic understanding. Now, question like this. Let's see how you will answer a small farmer, large field. This is a concept. And what is yesterday we discussed a question from GS3 PYQ, question number 14. What this question was, what do you understand by integrated farming system, and how integrated farming system can help a small and marginal farmer. So in Indian agriculture system, the small and marginal farmer has to be empowered. Their economic resources has to be enhanced. Fine. So this concept is related to that. A small farmer, large field. So, so this is the correct answer. See, the third is talking about they make a contact with the corporate body. No, right? A company signed loans, technical knowledge to input as small farmers. No, right? Resettlement of to war by no. That is not right. So, but see, now just telling you an option that will not complete the story. The question is how you will understand phrases like this. See, it will come it will happen naturally when you read National Farmer Policy, economic documents. These writers and those who are mainly senior administrator or professor, right, or directors of research institute, all their life they have been dealing with these things. So they use some phrases. And what is the meaning of phrases? Phrases is concentrated knowledge. Let's say you want to say this idea, so you will convey that idea through this phrase. So now when you read such documents, keep your eyes open. Try to understand. Okay, when I got a new phrase, what is the meaning of that? That way you will answer such question. Fine? Any problem? Okay. Now, given this background, now we'll move to today's chapter. That is, okay. Let us start with the quantity theory of money. What the quantity theory of money says, MV is equal to PT. In fact, I must write it like this. Right, in fact, you must write it Y. Okay. So, there was an economist, Irving Fisher. He gave this theory. What it is called? Quantity theory of money. Quantity theory of money. Fine. What it says, very important concept. This is your quantity of money, right? This is your velocity. When you say velocity of the money, it means number of transactions happening per period, right? If the transactions are high, the velocity would be high. Okay. This is your price level. Let me write price level. This is your output. Price level, quantity or output. This is your money supply. This is your velocity. Any problem? So what he said, that your money supply will decide your price level. And in generally what is assumed that velocity and your output is constant. Fine. So indirectly you can write this. Money supply would be proportional to your price level. Fine. Okay. Given this background, now please write a line. Classical theory of money. Classical theory of money says that price level is proportional to the quantity of money. Fine. Okay. Now, what you can do, then there was also a Cambridge approach, another version of this. It is called Cambridge. Okay, now how this quantity theory of money is related to with your PYQs? Can you relate? Let's say now you understand this concept that money supply is related to price level. How you can use this concept? Prelims you have to just mark the option, but in mains as well. Somewhere, let's say you're talking about inflation or price level, you can write this equation. Do not write anything superficially. When you have foundation, you have understanding, then only write. So you will say MV equal to PY, and if you will put bar on both, the professor will immediately understand that your, your foundation is good in. So, and then you can say money is proportional to price level in 10 words. You can convey your message. Fine. So, and in, let's say in prelims, you get question, which of the following will affect, how the price level is affected. Then you will, if the option is money supply, then it makes sense. Okay, even your OMOs, open market operation, what they are doing, they are controlling inflation, and indirectly they are influencing the money supply. Okay, so given this understanding, we will move to Cambridge approach. Cambridge approach is another version of quantity theory of money. What they said, why Cambridge approach? Because there were two professors from Cambridge University, Professor Alfred Marshall and ACP Roy. Cambridge approach, and what it said, almost same thing, but in a different version, is equal to 1 upon K P Y. Okay, no, not this K P Y. Okay, so now if you relate this equation with the equation given by Professor Irving Fisher, what you will say? V is equal to velocity is equal to 1 by K, right? Any problem? I can just take K side. So same thing. So and it was given by Alfred Marshall and ACP Roy. I think in 1930s. In 1930s, gave this. Fine. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. It should be 3 only, right? It should be 3. Here it is 3. It is bar. Okay. Here it should be. Here also bar. Okay. So money is. See, when I put 3 bars, it means identity. There is difference between identity and equality. This thing is fine. Now, you can please write a statement. The Cambridge focus was on the quantity theory as a theory for demand for money. So how much money will be demanded? That will be decided by the quantity theory of money. So what happened? See, we know Keynes attacked the ideas of classical school. So in around 1930s, Keynes started attacking the idea of Attacking is a very harsh word. We will say, contesting, right? Contesting, classical economist. Okay, classical economist. Fine. Now, given this background, you must know the quantity of the money decides your demand curve. Okay, and you can classical aggregate demand curve. How you will decide? Okay, first, what is the supply curve in classical school?
Constant.
Constant. And why it is constant?
Because the price level is increasing.
The wage is also accordingly increased. Now the demand curves is like your this thing. Let's say I'm having, and this will depend on. This is your. These are aggregate price level. Okay, and this is, let's say, money supply, and money supply at some level. Okay, money supply is equal to, let's say, 500 a year. So whenever you increase money supply, what will happen? Let's say money supply here is 600. Your demand curve will, what will happen to the demand curve? Move right. Okay, and now you understand why it will move right. Because quantity theory of money says price. Fine. Now, okay. So this is your output. So now you will have two equilibrium points, right? This is the price level for this one, and this is the, let's say your money supply is MS, I'm calling it 500. Then this is the price level. So what is happening as you keep on increasing your money supply? Let's say I increase further my money supply, then my price level will also enhance. This is my price level. Any problem? Okay. Now, given this background, we will see the influence of fiscal policy on output. Now, what is output? That means, right, output is given by two methods: expenditure method and income method. And CI plus G and X. Let's say if it is a closed economy, you will consider it equal to 0. Closed economy. Okay. And by let's say income method, how you define it? C plus S plus T. Okay. This is consumption, this is saving, or this is your tax. Here, to be more exact, I should write IR, that is realized investment. And what is the difference between realized investment and investment? It is something related to excess inventory. Realized investment is that much investment fund wanted, and realized is how much happened. And let's say when you study finance, you will understand it this better. Okay, I will explain you like this. Let's say there is a company X. It produced 500 goods. This is a production, okay? But it could sold only 400. So what is the excess inventory? 100 inventory. That is excess. This could not be sold. But let's say next year demand is only 600. Let's say next year demand is 600. So it will make only 500, right? Again 500. So 500 it will adjust from there. This concept is related to your investment realized or investment, simple investment. Fine. Now, what we will contest now, that fiscal. Let's say one fiscal policy measure we will take. And what is one fiscal policy measure? Government spending. Government will invest to stimulate economy. So what the classical economists said, government spending has no effect on output. Now, if you tell this thing in 2023 to somebody, they will say what they're saying. But classical economists had a intellectual foundation of almost 2 years, from Adam Smith to David Ricardo. So it is not superficial concept. These are very rigorous concepts. So when they said government spending have no effect on output, there is a long theory. And what was their, what this, what, and what was the reasoning behind it? Let's say you increase government spending. How you will increase government spending?
Yes, by decreasing the tax. Or
So, just a minute. Go. Just a minute. What is happening? Yes. Now, your government spending has to go up. For that, you will need money. And money will come from where? From savers. Let's say in economy, there are savers. Right? The access money, money, they have some money. So if the government will demand money, so what will happen? The interest rate will go up. You understand this concept? Government needs money. Government has to do spending. So government will need some, savers money. So that will lead to increase in interest rate. Interest rate. And whenever your interest rate increase, what happens? Your investment comes down. Right? See, this is the relation. Government has to increase the spending. Due to spending, actually spending, interest rate will go up, and this will lead to what? Your investment coming down. Or somebody may ask, okay, if you increase interest rate, why the investment will come down? What you will say? The concept is very simple. Let's say you are investing in a project P. There is a project P. To start this project, let's say its cash flows. Its cash flows are like this. I'm taking for, let's say, 4 years, 3 years. Initially 0, then 1,000, then 2,000, then 4,000. Generally, this is the way people in finance calculate the value of a project. Now, this is the cash flows, but you have to bring it to the present value. How you bring it to the present value? By discounting it with the opportunity cost. Let's say the opportunity cost is 1.7%. So this is 7%. This is second year, so you will discount it by 2 years. 1.07. This is third year, so you will discount it by 3 years. Discounting is, see, if you're confused what is discounting, you must think like this. Let's say you had 100 rupees and the interest rate is 10% and you invested it for 3 years. So what is the output you will get? 1.1 power 3. This would be your final value if it is your initial value. Any problem? So let's say your final value is this much, 4,000. How you will calculate the real value? You will divide it by this. That is what is happening here. Fine. So what my point is, if your interest rate will go high, so this number will enlarge. Okay. So the total and see how you will get it the final value by adding this. This is called NPV, that is net present value. So let's say this denominator, that is the rate of interest. If it is high, so what will happen? My overall value will come down. So that's why investors will say, see, no, interest rate is very high. This project is not profitable. That's why investment will come down. Fine. If the investment will come down and the interest rate is high, similarly, when the interest rate is high, savers would like to put more money in, they will save more. When some person will save more, their consumption will automatically decrease. Because see, let's say somebody got money 100 rupees. So that 100 rupees can go where? Either in consumption, either in savings, or either in tax. This is how you calculate the Y in your income method. If your saving is increasing, so automatically, let's say there is zero tax. So taxes, we are ignoring taxes. So if your saving is going up, your consumption will automatically come down. So can you see? That was the logic of classical school economists. Whenever you increase government spending, it will have no effect on output, because accordingly your consumption and investment will decrease and output will remain constant. Fine. Now, same thing, you can talk about the taxes. What will happen? Now, taxation is a fiscal policy or monetary policy?
monetary goals.
Okay. So now see, what is the point? Classical school said their assumption was classical school that real factors are more important, right? And real factors means mainly your fiscal policy factors, and monetary factors play very little role. So here we will say that through taxation it plays role but very limited role. Fine. Let's say I have again same equation, y is equal to c plus I plus g. Fine. Now let's say, now suppose government had to spend something. So we know government that spending, it can accumulate through, it can get through three means, either by selling bonds, printing money, quantitative easing, or taxation. Right. Now, if you are saying the taxation is decreasing, we are assuming that in this particular situation, the tax rate has decreased. So this means the amount, the T amount which the government was getting, it has reduced. So what will happen if this has reduced? So government has to get more money because that particular amount of investment has to be done. And this, let's say this is the government deficit. What is the meaning of deficit? Government want to spend this much and only could raise the taxation from, this much money from taxation. So this much amount they have to get it. And how they can get it? Through selling bonds. Taxation thing is already gone because they already taxed. Now by selling bonds or by quantitative easing. In this particular case, we are assuming that we are not considering quantitative easing. Now tell me the effect of selling bonds. What will happen if you sell bonds?
So sell one, government gets the money.
Okay, government sell bonds. Government is selling bonds. Government gets the money. Then fine.
If government gets more money, they will have more money to invest in the market.
Okay, then
Then the investment of the other parties are going to decrease.
the investment of the other parties are
Going to decrease.
why?
Because government has more money to invest. It means
Okay, yes, indirectly what you are trying to say, now you got the point. Government investment, right? Government spending will crowd out private investment, right? Yes. So this is the logic you must hit on. So when the government spending is there, government spending, it whenever the government is spending, that is G increases. What it will do? It will crowd out investment, right? So accordingly, what will happen here? Let's say this thing is increased, this thing will come down, and again it will get balanced here.
Yes, sir.
But this is only for the demand side. But in the supply side, what can happen?
In the supply side,
Taxation can affect, right?
yes, sir.
So you remember when we were studying the function of labor supply, what it was? G W upon P, and it is positive because whenever you increase the price level is increased, wage is also increased, and laborers are willing to work more. Now, if you take into the consideration taxation part, let's say the tax on employees has reduced. So you can modify this graph as 1 minus T. I'm just calling it T rate into W upon P, and let us call this thing. Fine. Let us assume two situations. Earlier the tax rate was T1 was 40%, and then it moves to, then the tax rate reduced and it came to 20%. And let's say income was 100 rupees. So how much tax they paid here? 100 minus 40. So their total income is only 60 rupees. Fine. In this case, what will happen? 100 minus their income is 80 rupees. So here the income has enhanced. So due to enhanced income, can you trace again the same equation? Y is equal to C plus I plus G. Now tell me, how this tax, can you help me understand this taxation, this decreased taxation will influence output? Yes, tell me how.
So because if the labor getting more wages while the taxation is reduced,
Right.
so he is willing to work more time.
Right, fine.
Then the price is also going to increase. Price is
also going to increase. How you relate these two things?
Sorry. If the labor efficiency is going to increase, the output is also going to increase according to that.
No. See, just you have to trace. If you want to refer, you can refer. Right. See, what is the logic here? Your taxing. Yes, that's correct. Now the labor has more money. Okay, they have more income. So if they have more income, what they will engage in? Increase in consumption. Got it? And let's say somebody has 100 rupees. Okay, income is 100 rupees. So either they will consume or they will save. And due to this reduced taxation, labor's income has increased. Any problem here? So accordingly, their consumption will also increase, and how much consumption will increase that will depend upon marginal propensity to consume.
Yes, sir.
It is generally, it is given by B, and in economics we denoted by B, and what it simply means, marginal propensity to consume. Let's say my marginal propensity to consume is 20%. So if I have 100 rupees, if my income increases by 1 rupee, so my consumption will also increase by 20 paisa. That is marginal propensity to consume. So can you relate it from here? Whenever the income will increase, so your consumption will also increase and your savings will also increase. Now come to this part. Now this consumption has increased. Now
the consumption is increased, the investment is going to decrease.
Why investment is going to decrease?
Because
you just trace the logic, Yeah.
Sorry, the curve will move rightwards.
Okay, yes, sir. Now you're saying the curve will move rightwards. In what curve? Just a minute, I will show you that. Okay, now this is fine. Okay, you are saying that NS curve, right? NS curve, which is the new curve and which is defined as 1 minus TR into W upon P. You are saying this supply curve, and supply curve is given by how? What? See, demand curve is like this, right? Ampere. Your supply curve is like this. You are saying it will move rightward. Okay. Then this is your new. I'm calling it new. Okay.
If the labor efficiency is increasing, the demand, so the supply curve is going to rise.
You want to take your time, just see once again. You're almost 80% there, but I'm just looking for some particular concept which you are missing.
Quantity theory of money.
Yes, quantity theory of money. What?
According to quantity theory of money, the price is going to high, wages are going to high.
Okay. Anyway, see now. Listen. In the first or second lecture, we saw that your labor demand curve is nothing but the MPN, and we saw the labor supply curve. Then we saw their intersection give you employment, and this is your real wages. You remember this part?
Yes, sir.
Any problem here?
No.
So same thing, you will plot it here. Real wage, let's call it WP not. Fine. At this point, what is the real wage? This is the real wage. But when your labor supply increases, let's say this is labor supply. Sorry, I will just a minute. This is first situation, and this is after reducing tax. So new real wages is like this, and the new labor supply is this. N dash, I'm calling it, let's say N1, and this one I'm calling it N0. Any problem here? You can see that labor supply has increased. Now, how you see the effect of this thing on output? Intersection, yes. Intersection of what?
Labor.
You will plot the production function. Okay, production function is nothing but the Y employment, right? N is equal to employment. What you will do? You will project it. So your new, let me do it here. Okay, earlier your output was this, right? This was your output. Now your output is this. Okay, see what I should have done. It should be upward sloping. This graph should be little upward sloping like this. Okay, so let me draw it more carefully. So just a minute. Yes. Can you see now, due to enhanced labor supply, earlier your output was Y0. Now your output is Y1. This is the logic. This is, you must tell. So now in this equation, what is happening whenever your
without explaining this graph, how can we say
in one sense? So you will say simply like this. Okay, you don't want to draw this graph. You will say, see, you will keep in your mind this story. How real wages and this story is there. Now you will convince yourself how whenever your taxation is decreased, your labor is willing to work more. That is, labor supply will increase. How you will come to that concept from here? You might tell yourself this example, right? And why at because here what is happening? Your real wages are increasing. Whenever your real wages increase, your labor is willing to work more. Once your real wages has increased, labor is willing to work more, then you will say this thing. Production function. Production function is nothing but the F, K, N naught. You will say in the short run, we assume your capital is constant and your labor is the only deciding factor. So whenever your labor is increasing, your output will increase. Any doubt? Okay, wonderful. Now we have invested enough time in this. We will move to what you can do. Just listen. One line. Changes in government spending or taxes have no independent effect on aggregate demand because of the interest rate adjustment. That's what we saw. Whenever you increase your government spending, there is no effect on output because interest rate is adjusting. Interest rate is bringing down your investment and consumption. So keep this thing in mind. So when you will enter in the prelims examination, more or less, right? You will say whenever interest rate increase is there, so what it will lead to? It will lead to investment decrease and consumption decrease. Now somebody might contend these are the principles of classical school, how you can, but more or less, okay, more or less it also applies now. Whenever your interest rate increasing, investment will decrease or your consumption will come down. Any problem? Okay, wonderful. Now second part. In changes in marginal income tax rate have additional supply side effect. So whenever you decrease tax rate, you will have more supply of the curve. Sorry, more supply of the labor, and this is what is happening. It is shifting to rightwards. And whenever you shift it rightward, you know that your production will increase through output will increase through this function.
So can you tell that in line?
Okay, write down. You can write decrease in income tax will have additional supply of labor. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now with given this understanding, so classical school said there should be no government intervention. So they believed in the self-adjusting nature of the economy. So they assumed that market will take care of that. And you saw they are contesting that interest rate. When you increase government spending, interest rate will bring down investment and consumption. And see, when you say investment, that is crowding out private investment. So try to write this word in somewhere in your mains copy. When you say, you can write like this: government spending might. You will use the word might, not it is not 100%, because if somebody will say it is 100%, the government is not going to do capex, and capex is very, very important for the stimulation of Indian economy. So government spending might crowd out, this is a phrase, private investment. These are hardly 6-7 words, and you can write a small equation like this: C plus I plus G. You will say this is increasing, these two are decreasing, and you can make a graph there. No, just make that particular graph, and your 1 or 2 extra marks are assured. Now we have to move into the Keynes. Okay, ask yourself this question: if the classical school economists start saying government spending has no effect on output, so pandemic came recently, right? There were almost no jobs, people were in trouble. So what the government did? You see, the government fiscal deficit has gone, very, very high. So government did spending, right, to stimulate the economy, to enhance the social security. So budget deficit was very, very high. But that is important. Government cannot, not only any economy cannot run away from that. When there is problems, government has to come into the picture, because private players will not invest. So government spending is very, very important. And Keynes made this thing, Keynes emphasized both your fiscal policy measures as well as monetary policy measures. Classical economists mainly emphasized on fiscal policy measure. It is not to say that they denied the role of monetary factors. No. Just now we saw, right? But very limited role. Fine. So again, Keynes mainly in his book, The General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money. Important book. You must have, maybe not today, maybe some other day, you must read this book. General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money. Okay. Written by Professor John Maynard Keynes. He was from which country? UK, not in USA. Actually, he studied. Okay, again to share with you one story. What happened? There is no doubt that Keynes' ideas helped USA come out of the depression. No doubt about this. And let's say if somebody you ask somebody, not somebody, a very fine economist, what was the real cause of Great Depression, 1930s? So they will say two things, according to my mind. What they will say, first was the financial panic. Okay, in fact, this year's economic Nobel Prize has gone to Professor Ben Bernanke. Okay, right? He has worked on the Great Depression mainly. So he made two objections. What? Financial panic and gold standards. The country was observing gold standard. Gold standard means they were not free exchange rate mechanism, foreign exchange mechanism. It was based on the gold standard. So this was malfunctioning. The gold standard was malfunctioning, and this was one of the reasons of Great Depression and the financial panic. People were not trusting on banks. Okay, why these two were? That is a story. We will some other day. financial panic, you understand. Let's say people, I believe, 100 people like me believe that the bank in which we have deposited our money is no more, let's say, credit worthy. It is in stress. So what we will do? We will immediately take out our money. And once you take out your money from the bank, how they will land? If they will not land, they will not, borrow, and they will, the circulation of money will come down. Okay. So that was the reason for the financial panic. Second is related to gold standard. There was no free floating, floating exchange rate. It was mainly of the gold standard, and this is what it is. So, what I was discussing, why I raised this point?
So you are saying about the Keynes book.
Yes. So Keynes, what Keynes said, government spending is very, very important because people were not having trust on the financial system. So when the government came into the picture, government did the spending, then that stimulated the economy, and this is mentioned in this book. Okay, not today, maybe some other day you might like to read the few pages. Now, please write down. Oh, okay, yes, the idea which what I was trying to say. Countries like UK and many European countries, they gave up gold standard much before than USA. USA gave in late 30s. But earlier countries like UK, France, they were also following this. They were not having floating exchange rate mechanism. They were following the gold standard. But they gave up in, if I can recall well, in 1920s. They gave up this gold standard mechanism in 1920, and these countries were also in depression, European countries, but they came out very quickly. So Professor Keynes was from the UK, and he studied this mechanism. Why UK went into depression and why it came out so quickly compared to USA and other economies. So he observed something. What was his observation? That classical economist theory is rigorous. It is based on the works of Adam Smith and all that, but there is some flaw. Okay, what is the flaw? Mainly, he pointed out that you cannot assume that output will remain constant, even if mainly, see, what the classical output is mainly determined by the supply side factors. So he said no, that assumption is a problem. Fine. So please write down. Keynes' theory provided the basis for economic policies to combat unemployment, okay, by stimulating aggregate demand. So this Y has to be changed. This Y has to change. Aggregate demand, right? Y, aggregate demand is your output, right? Y. Fine. In fact, I should write not Y, I should write E. Okay. And Keynes assumed E is equal to Y. Y again same. Okay. Demand will have three components: consumption, investment, or saving. Sorry, demand, CIG. Fine. Okay. CIG, right? And we are assuming the closed economy, so we will not take NX. Okay. Now what you can write? We can write it like, see, now we are moving from the classical school to Keynes school, right? So you can write the Keynes economics, Keynesian economics. Fine. And okay, given this background, okay, you also know this equation. Y is equal to C plus I plus G, right? And you also know Y is equal to C plus S plus T.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Now you compare these two equations. So you will say S plus T is equal to I plus G. Please note it down. This is important. Your saving plus tax is equal to investment plus government spending. Earlier we made a contention that this investment has to be equal to R. That is realized investment, IR. Its full understanding I will share with you when we discuss finance. But at present, you can write a definition. Realized investment is the IR, realized investment. That is realized investment. Investment is the total that appears in the national income accounts, comma, whether or not that investment was desired by firms. Now we will talk about the circular flow of see this concept again you can use in your mains answer sheet somewhere, right? And it will also help you solve one or two prelims question. These are households. What I'm trying to say, we studied two equations of output. This is your consumption method. This is your income method, right? Now we will see the relationship between them. This is your in any economy there are business sector, there is households. Okay. Now there is a circular flow. This is your from Y, and Y is divided into three parts. C as P. Okay. Consumption. Okay. Consumption will go to businesses, right? Consumption will go to businesses, right? Yes. And saving will go to financial market. Actually, I should write it somewhere here. Financial markets, right? Investment, and this should be government, taxation, government. Financial markets. This is financial markets. Okay, both money market and capital market. Just now you saw it. See now how can you see how these concepts are related? You just now saw a question prelims that which of the part is part of your capital market. Now you know output or GDP or output or national income can be calculated by two methods, consumption and income method. Now here we are seeing the circular flow of income and output. Let's say businesses give wages to employees. So this is income, right? Let us generally you must not call Y is equal to GDP. That is wrong. You must call it national income. You must call it national income. That is how many economics works. So this is your national income. This is national income. We are assuming whatever the wages they are getting. Now this wages they can consume. Let's say if they consume, what they are consuming, the product which has been produced by business sector. Let's say anything. Let's say at present I'm consuming this board, this class, right? So and something they might save. If they save it, where they are going to invest? Somewhere in the market. And if that in market, that savings, again they are going to give it to business sector. We saw, let's say just now we saw in the Y is equal to you remember this thing, C plus I plus. We saw the government spending effect. Whenever it is increased, your investment will decrease. So because these financial markets are giving, these are nothing but the banks, financial institution, investment banks, they are giving lending money to business sector. This thing is clear. Now remaining money you might pay as a tax, and that will go to government, and that will be government spending. And any problem? Fine. Okay. Wonderful. Now let us see what else. Okay. Now we will study things like components of aggregate demand. Here we will talk about marginal propensity to consume, marginal propensity to save, and multiplier effect. When you say multiplier effect, right? For instance, in infra have multiplier effect. What we will study it little bit rigorously. Okay, but that we will do in the next class. Okay, thank you very much.